Okay. So we're going to take a look here at number 35. These are all proportions. And in my class and at this school, we typically solve them using something called the butterfly method. Another way of saying it is to cross multiply and divide. So 6 over 3 equals x over 5. So this is going to be number 35. We have to write it down. 6 over 3 equals x over 5. Okay. So that means that 3x equals 6 times 5. This is what people mean by butterfly. And then 6 times 5 is 30, so 3x equals 30. We divide both sides by the coefficient of the x variable, 3. We get x equals 10. So it's one thing to know this. It's another thing to write it down neatly. And I'd like it written down neatly. All right, moving on to number 36. We have 9 over m equals 3 over 7. So we don't write m times 3. We're going to write 3m. We always write the number, then the letter, even if the letter came first, equals 9 times 7. Okay. Many students want to jump to write 63 here because you know it is 63, right? But it's kind of like in a game of pool, playing the game of pool. You call the pocket before you shoot the ball, okay? So you want to call the pocket and say, here's what I'm going to do. You're trying to tell the reader. You have to imagine somebody's going to read this. Say, well, I'm going to multiply 9 times 7. So 3m equals 63. That way the reader can say, I guess 9 times 7 is 63, you know? And then you have to tell the reader, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So then you cross this out to show them that those cancel. Now m equals. And you have to divide 63 by 3. Well, watch my fingers here. 3 goes into 6 2 times. There's no remainder. 3 goes into 3 1 time. So that's how you do long division in your head. Okay. M equals 21. All right, moving on to number 37. Things get more interesting. We have 6 over n minus 7 equals 2 over 9. Okay, so again, we're going to butterfly, but we're going to multiply 2 times this whole binomial. So we'll write 2 open parentheses, n minus 7, close parentheses, equals 6 times 9. Okay. So we'll do distributive property here. 2 times n is 2n. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Equals 6 times 9, which is 54. Okay, so we're trying to get n by itself, but I have to kind of work. You have to eat the apple from the outside in. So first I got to get rid of this 14. So I have to add 14 to both sides. Now I've got 2n equals 54 plus 14. So we stack add. 4 plus 4 is 8. 5 plus 1 is 6. Now I'm going to tell the reader, in order to isolate the n variable by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient of the n variable, which is 2. Cancel out those 2's. And now n equals 68 divided by 2. So 2 goes into 6 3 times with no remainder. 2 goes into 8 4 times with no remainder. So n must equal 34. And we're moving on to number 38. We have x plus 1 over 9 equals 6 over 2. I want to mix it up. Okay, today I want to mix this up. So instead of doing butterfly, why don't we just recognize that 6 over 2 is 3? Right. Isn't it? 6 divided by 2, isn't it 3? So couldn't I just multiply both sides by 9? Cancel out the 9's and have x plus 1 equals 3 times 9. X plus 1 equals 27. Subtract 1 from both sides. X equals 26. Faster. No distributive property required. You know, you can always get rid of a denominator by multiplying the thing by that number in the numerator. You know? Okay, finally something exciting. Number 39. I'll show you what we're looking at here. We got 7 over 6 equals r plus 2 over r minus 4. So it helps to put these in parentheses so you know that there are going to be binomials that have to have the distributive property. So we'll write 7 open parentheses r minus 4 close parentheses equals 6 open parentheses r plus 2 close parentheses. All right, let's distribute. 7 times r is 7r. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. Equals 6 times r is 6r. 6 times 2 is positive 12. Now I want to gather my r's. So I'll subtract 6r from both sides. 7r minus 6r is 1r, or just r. So now I have r minus 28 equals 12, because these canceled out. Now I add 28 to both sides, and I'll be done. R equals 40. And that brings us to number 40. I'm very excited about number 40 because we have 2 over 9 equals x plus 8 over x minus 10. Okay. Put parentheses around the 2 binomials. 2 open parentheses x minus 10 close parentheses equals 9 open parentheses x plus 8. We'll say bye-bye to our homie here. And we're going to distribute. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. Equals 9 times x is 9x. 9 times 8, what is it? 72 plus 72. Now we want to gather the x's together, but we want to avoid a negative if possible because it'll make our math easier. There's a property in math that says it's okay if x is on the right. You can read the equation backwards. All right, so it's fine for me to move this 2x by subtracting 2x from both sides over here and just solve for x on the right side. This is more of that metaphor to the pool table. I'm going to call x on the right side here. Now I've got negative 20. Sometimes this bar helps people. And that equals 9 minus 2 is 7, so 7x plus 72. And now the additive inverse of 72 is negative 72. So just put minus 72. And because algebra means to keep in balance, we're going to do the same thing on both sides. So 7x, you're going to read it backwards, equals, and now we're adding 2 negative numbers. The result will be a bigger negative number, negative 92. We'll divide both sides by 7. Cancel out those 7s. And now we're going to perform that trick. I'm going to move this up here. Okay, so right now I've got x equals negative 92 over 7. So 7 goes into 9 one time. That's 7. So the remainder would be 2. So, oh, I see. I'm looking at the answer choices and I see they don't actually want us to turn this into a decimal. If you look at the answer choices, they leave it as a fraction. Negative 92 over 7. Yeah. So we were done and we just didn't know it. I think that's a, let me look ahead here. Coming up in future episodes of the 100-question Algebra 1 test review, we're going to be solving equations by factoring. The number 41, I'll just as a verbal, I'll tell you, just look at those 2 numbers there. Do you see the 5 and the 2? Reverse their signs. Those are the solutions. Okay. Yeah, I mean so that would be A. Now, you do. But I'm just telling you, like, as a preview, that one's easy. Now on 42, because one of the factors you see is b minus 6, so reverse that sign. So you know one of the solutions is 6. The second factor, you would have to set it equal to 0. subtract 1 from both sides and divide by 7. So that would be -1/7. But we're going to show that work. I'm just saying, like, those are factored already. So to solve those equations is really simple. But down here, number 43 and 44, we have to actually perform that factoring technique. We'll get into that. That'll be in a future video. As always, I want to thank everybody for their attention. I know that math class is not the most exciting class period of the day, but in my opinion, even though I failed it 3 times in high school, this class, Algebra 1, it was really because I just didn't. It's what she said, right? Math is only fun if you know it or when you know it. And so I didn't pay attention in class because I was too interested in girls, and I was actually kind of interested in robotics at the time and debate. So I was always trying to get out of my math class. Oh, I tell the teacher, I got to go do debate, or, oh, I got to go work on the robot. And my teacher was the robotics club administrator guy. And so he would let me leave the room, which got me out of algebra, right? But then I had that problem of not understanding how to do it. And that same teacher, he told me at the semester break, Christmas break of my freshman year, he said, Mr. Morelli, you're failing this class. And he was from Holland. His name was Mr. Van Gant. And he said, you're failing the class. People from other countries are a little bit more direct. Or maybe an American teacher would say, oh,
you're not doing so good.
Yeah, let's try to do a little bit of improvement. This guy was like, you're a loser. And he told me, he said that he had failed math when he was in high school. And he told me that his teacher had told him the same thing, and that he had gone home over the Christmas break and he had brought the textbook home, and that he'd actually stolen it from the school. He took it with him, and he went home and he worked out all the problems in the textbook, one at a time. And he didn't care how long it took him. He spent the whole Christmas break just working math problems. And he said when he came back from Christmas break, he knew how to do algebra. Long story short, when I decided to learn algebra, I was trying to impress a girl. My girlfriend at the time was like a genius, and I wanted to be like her. I wanted to impress her, that I could do the math too. And so that's what I did. I did exactly the same thing. I just did hundreds of problems. I think like any skill, like doing a nice weld, where you get those good welds, the nice little, I don't know if you've ever seen good welding. It's a nice little pattern, looks like waves. Yeah, no beads, no burnt out, everything. It takes a lot of time and a lot of mistakes and a lot of practice. And it's very frustrating when you're first learning. You encounter that in anything that you do. It's just that math, for some reason, it's hard for some people to understand the symbols. Like when we say 3x equals 9, that means if I triple some number, I have 9, right? But putting that x there, so if I say it to you, triple some number and you have 9, you'll know it's 3. Or if I say x plus 1 equals 10, you got a lot of people that have trouble knowing to subtract 1 from both sides. They don't know the rule. But if I said, I had some amount of money in my bank account, okay, and then Keith gave me $1, and now I have $10 in my bank account. Well, everybody in the room would know that the original number was 9, right? But when we put the symbols in there with the letters X and Y, they just stand in for something like apples and oranges or money, time. But putting those symbols in there makes everything really difficult. And I understand that it's boring. I can just tell you this, and maybe I've deluded myself into thinking this because I do it for a living. But last night I must have worked over 100 math problems between doing the problems for this review and then working on those TSI math problems to record that other video. Then I would say on the average night as a math teacher, I probably work. Uh, some nights I don't do any. Some nights I just go home and watch Amazon or Netflix. But most nights I'm on a meet with a student doing a tutorial. I would say on an average night I work 30, 40 problems. Just imagine how good you'd be at the subject. I don't think any of you, even if you're struggling in here, I don't think you're stupid. It's just that who goes home and works 30 math problems every night? It's like if you did 30 push-ups every day for a year, you would be jacked. Okay? If you just added that to your workout routine, you'd have a bunch of upper body strength, right? If you went home every night for the next 365 days and you did 30 math problems, algebra problems, you think you'd be good at algebra? Yeah, you'd be really good at it. Stay away from that calculator. You hear me? Okay. That's evil. It's going to make you, it's not going to make you stupid, but it's going to remove your requirement to think. And when you get to that TSI, I can't say this enough. I know I've given this speech before. Okay. Welcome to the church of Algebra 1, right? The TSI, you're not allowed to use a calculator. And we've got a lot of students right now who are getting into the TSI test and they thought they were smart. They are smart. They thought they knew algebra and geometry. They get in that TSI test. We take away the pacifier, okay? Take away the calculator. All of a sudden, you feel like you're in the ocean with no life raft, okay? We have to stop with the machine. When you're at home, okay, please resist the temptation to use PhotoMath or Mathway to cheat your way through this final, okay? I can say that to you, okay? TBH, when I was your age, if Mathway and PhotoMath were available, 100% I would have cheated, okay? Right? I told you I failed the class 3 times. I definitely would have cheated. Thank heavens they didn't even have a TI calculator that could do anything, right? But I understand the pressure on you is to go use that software instead of actually putting in the 3 or 4 hours that it will take to do all 100 questions and then having to struggle through my boring videos to get the help if you need it. But it's good for you. It's good for your brain. It's good for your spirit. And if you do it on your own and accomplish the task, you will not only be prepared for geometry, algebra 2 and beyond, but you'll feel like you accomplished something hard, which you did. Okay. All right. Well, listen, thanks for listening to my sermon, and I hope you guys have a great day.